Man, that intro video is nice and choppy today. I hope our fucking stream is okay. Can somebody check the stream and see if we're
You are botting out, dude.
are we botting pretty bad?
It sounds like it sounds like this is John's internet. Great start.
This is fantastic.
Start.
This is
Quality.
this is good video game
What's
content.
good, everyone? This is episode 109 of SDGC.
Welcome to SDGC.
Welcome.
Is it still stuttery?
Is it is it stuttering on stream for everybody, or am I just botting?
You're just botted, really.
Okay.
Just when you talk.
Just when I talk. Okay, give me 1 second. I can
And the
fix
stream
it.
is choppy. Yeah, the Twitch is choppy for me too.
Is the Twitch choppy for you?
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Everyone is saying that the video was garbage. And when I say everyone, I mean the hashtaginess.
All
Shout
right.
out to WoW.
So, hold on. I can fix this. Give me a-
Off to just a really.
I know,
good start,
right? It's off to a
guys.
rip.
We haven't done
roaring
this in
start.
like 2 weeks.
I don't know
I
why
really
it was
like
so-
that whenever
us.
we have a guest that things just really go.
Every
off.
time
There
I
we
would
go.
use
Now we're good.
podcast.
Now we're good. Am I still botting?
Go straight
Yeah.
to garbage.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So the video should be good. I'm going to drop real quick and come back in. Actually, I shouldn't even have to do that. Hold on.
We're so sorry.
Is that a Coca-Cola vanilla? What
There's
is,
no way
what
that's
is
the
that?
thing.
I got PAX
Can you-
Pox, so
can you
like I don't
specify?
think we're talking about like the same PAX.
Wait, hold on. Tom, what were you about to say?
Oh, I don't even know where I was going with that.
Oh, okay. I actually, for once, didn't get. So that's new. John is trying to talk and he is still
Can you hear me? Can
not
anybody hear
being
me?
heard.
Hey John, guess what? Dark Souls sucks. It's not a good game at all.
What the
Final
fuck,
Fantasy
dude?
6,
Jesus Christ.
terrible.
This is outstanding. This is good video game content.
I'm gonna
The
kick you
Nintendo
off the
Switch,
call.
more like the Nintendo trash. Am I right?
Stop it. You're hurting me.
Hey, somebody.
So
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
very sorry about this. This is a.
So you know
train
what?
wreck start.
Well, John, I don't want to like kick dead air, so I guess the least we can do is introduce our esteemed guest today.
I don't know if they can actually hear us. That's the problem.
Tom can hear us. They can hear us. They just can't hear John.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
But I don't want. So we have Tom from Gameranx.
Yeah.
So I feel right at home.
Okay, cool.
Can I point out how
We've
Can
done
you
this
guys
for
hear me
3
now?
behind you is?
What's up?
Can you guys hear me
The
now?
entire shelf
Anybody?
behind you. That's just qual.
Yeah, there's a Stormtrooper helmet, and there's a Poe Dameron helmet, and there's a bunch of little guys.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
A Goku.
But no Yamcha. It's
No.
all right.
They,
Oh man,
they don't make a lot of good Yamcha toys, it turns out.
it's actually one of the biggest shames of our industry.
Can anybody hear me?
There's not enough Yamcha figures
Yeah.
in the world.
John, you're back.
Am I back? Am I back? Are we back?
Yep.
That was fucking
Barely.
outstanding. That was some really good video game content, you guys. Everybody,
You
good work.
are you're still botting though.
Are you
so
fucking
botted.
serious?
So you're just here in spirit at this point, bud.
Yep.
Don't drop. Just stay and just.
So anyways, Tom, tell us about yourself and what you do for, in the video game industry.
Oh, I'm a producer for Gameranx. Doesn't work, especially when you're working.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait, everyone freeze up.
You know.
Am I
all
still botting?
everything's
Am I
possible.
still botting?
No.
Better.
Nah.
No, you're good now.
Excellent. Look at that. How about that?
Oh, look at that.
You gotta be fucking kidding me with this shit. Jesus Christ. All
So-
right.
Sorry for all the hate comments, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm used to it. So, okay. While I was sitting here fucking around with my bullshit, what did I miss?
Well, Tom was telling us about what he does for a living in the video game industry.
Okay, so Tom was talking about Gameranx. Tom, I don't. Sorry to interrupt you, man.
No, go right ahead. Yeah, so I'm our producer, so I manage the studio, I manage our equipment, I do all the technical stuff. I fix everything when it breaks, which is pretty frequently.
Yeah, you're living in my hell, man. Please come over here and help us. We could use some of that.
Every day it's like, oh, this isn't working. I do a lot of editing, of video, audio, gameplay capture. So I do kind of everything.
Let me ask you this, dude. I've been watching Gameranx for a couple of years now. How long have you guys actually been around? I never actually stopped to think about that.
It's been. So I joined in October of 2015, and the video stuff had been going for maybe a year and a half, 2 years, with Jake doing it. My boss Jake Baldino, and he. So by then he had brought it to around 700, 800,000. Then I hopped on, and then another dude hopped on in like mid to late 2016, and now we're at like 4.1.
4.1 million, Jesus. So are
what
you
you're saying is you're responsible for all of the success?
I was gonna say, are you
I'm not
taking
saying I am,
credit
but
for the
numbers
3.5? I came on and just another 3.5 million people just signed up. I just I want to throw it
No
out there.
biggie, no biggie.
I want to point out
It's
that
been like really fast growth though, which is kind of terrifying.
when JT first came on this podcast, we actually lost subscribers, which I thought was
Yeah,
really
we just like
unfortunate.
tanked real hard.
Yeah,
Like,
we actually had
really bad.
2 million, but we lost about I don't know 95% of those. So thanks a lot for that, JT.
I'm
But
proud of that.
but you actually, Tom, you also do side questing with Dalibor, right?
Yeah. So I've been writing there since I think 2013, 2014. Less now because I'm just so incredibly tired from Gameranx all the time, and the last thing I want to do is talk about video games when I get home.
I don't blame you, man. And
Let's
yet here you
talk-
are,
Welcome
Tom,
to-
talking
Oh,
about video games
No,
with.
podcasts are a completely different thing. Cause that's funny. Like, last thing I want to do is sit down in front of a keyboard and like collect my thoughts and write like a thoughtful, interesting thing about video games.
Yeah.
After I've been staring at, I can never play Fallout 4 ever again. Because when that came out, it was our most popular videos, and I was doing nothing but 8 hours a day, playing and editing Fallout 4
So like, I want
for
to
like 3 weeks.
I want to point out that like for some people that may sound like a dream job, but when you are playing anything as a job for 8 hours, like I know reviewers who it's their job to play games, right? And they're like, okay, I've been playing this game for fucking 10 hours. I don't know if I could ever play this again. I've got to put this down. There's a point where it stops becoming fun and starts becoming work. And like I don't know, man. Do you find yourself like when you do that, like I don't know, like what's the balance, right? Like what? How much time do you balance playing games for fun as opposed to how much time, how long you play games for work?
My general rule of thumb is I won't play anything for review that I actually want to enjoy.
Oh, that's harsh.
Oh wow.
I don't blame you though, man.
Yeah. With the exception of Yakuza 6, I played Yakuza 6.
Oh, you're speaking Jay's language now.
Yeah, I got that.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, I mean, I figured it was good.
It's not as good as like it's like 0 in particular, but it's like better than like 4, 5, and yeah.
Because
better
it's
than, like,
pretty
4,
it's
5.
pretty different, right?
Yeah, I know like they're on like a whole new engine, so like I don't fault them. I don't blame them for like there not being as many activities. Like it's a whole new engine. Like they're trying to get used to the engine. So all right, cool.
It doesn't feel like a PS2 game.
Okay, that's cool to know.
I actually was not aware. So I know so little about those games that I was not aware that it was a PS2 game.
Yeah, it started I think 10 years ago now. I think it was like 2006.
Yeah, Yakuza 1 had like all-star voice cast on it. On the
Yeah,
on the
But they
American
went hard
version.
on the.
Like they went really hard with
terrible.
it, and it bombed really
Yeah.
bad
They made no money.
because they market it as like a GTA clone. And
I mean,
it's
the
not-
360 was already out by that
yeah,
point.
yeah,
It's basically just Japanese Sopranos, which is something I'm way into.
yeah, exactly. Like that's the best explanation of it. So,
But that is the one exception to like, oh, I want this because I was able to get it a month and a half early for review, so which rarely happens.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'll do this one, but I did that for side questing and not Gameranx, so I can actually take my time and like we're a bit more lax with like it doesn't have to be done like on a super strict timetable because this is no one's job. But yeah, generally I will pick 2 or 3 games that I'll stick with for my own personal time. So that's like something like a PUBG, or for a while was a Destiny 1, less so with Destiny 2. And like those are my like chill out games. Like I still play Stardew Valley quite a bit. And
My
I'm dedicated-
man.
And I'm dedicated to getting good at Dragon Ball Fighters, although that's a slower uphill climb.
Oh, you're gonna get along well with Finn. Finn is a big. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like Finn is a Bandai Namco. Like he actually does PR for Bandai Namco. So anytime somebody with 4 million subs is gonna come on and shill anything Dragon Ball related, Finn is okay
Well,
with that.
even if I wasn't,
So we're gonna get right around to what one of my favorite games of PAX East later, which was Soul Calibur 6.
woo woo woo.
Speaking.
No,
What was that?
more stuff. No, keep going.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say. Speaking of PAX, we're already 20 minutes into the podcast simply because we had somebody.
Yeah, my bad.
No.
Let me tell you
That
what
is
happened. It's actually really funny.
that is not your fault
So I
at
sat
all.
down. I'm like, all right, let's get ready for this podcast. It's like 8:15, 8:20. Let's get ready. And I put my stuff down, and I have a 2017 MacBook Pro.
Ooh.
So it's all USB-C ports,
Oh, great.
and all of my adapters are on my desk at work.
Okay, so
Oh,
like,
no.
so it actually, so like, wasn't your fault at all. It was this podcast is such a fucking dumpster fire. Whenever we have a guest or something cool is going on, I guarantee you there's going to be audio issues or video issues. It looks like everything has worked out now, but
Yeah.
I love spending the first 10 minutes of my podcast fucking around with my audio trying to figure out what is wrong. So I'm sitting here like unplugging shit and plugging shit back in. Like you guys can't hear me, but shit is coming out of my mouth while I'm doing this that I wouldn't repeat on Twitter. Like I'm saying all kinds of horrible shit. No, go ahead,
I did
man.
all that. I did all that, and I went to the office. I'm like, all right, I'll just do it from there. Whatever, fine, I'll do it from there. And I get there, and the room that we keep our microphones in, I forgot the key to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
Oh yeah, that's always
So
how
I
it works.
grabbed my dongles, and I went back home. And then
How far away is work?
I'd say like 10 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not so bad. It'd be a lot worse if it was a half an hour or something, right?
No,
Like,
if I catch every light, and like there's no traffic, I can get there in like 6 minutes.
Oh, that's dope, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, everyone else is like 20 minutes away, but it's right by my house.
Oh,
like,
that's not bad.
I
Well,
live
the
near-
new Splinter Cell game sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go ahead and let's go ahead and jump into PAX because there's a lot to unpack there. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
There's a lot
You've been sitting on that one for days.
I have been
Well,
waiting.
guys, it's been fun. I gotta go.
I've been waiting for that.
I just want you to know, Tom, if you're going to associate with us, I'm probably going to bust out way too many terrible jokes.
No, we're gonna keep that to a minimum. That was my PAX joke was bad enough for all your jokes. So I wanna jump into PAX and talk about some of the shit we saw there, some of the shit we did. I actually didn't get to play too much, but I want to start with Tom. And you had mentioned that you played Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah, that game feels really good.
How long have you been a Soul Calibur fan?
Okay, so I had, what was the first one? Was it Soul Edge? or
Soul
whatever?
Edge, right?
Soul Edge,
Yeah.
Soul Edge was the first one on the
Yeah,
Soul
PlayStation
Blade?
1.
Yeah, but I just touched on that one
Okay.
too on the game,
Okay.
which I think is like most people's jumping on point.
Yeah.
And I skipped 3, and I think 4 was the one with Yoda.
Yeah.
That was the one with
Yeah.
Yoda. What wasn't it? Yoda on the
Darth
Xbox,
Vader.
Darth Vader on the
yeah,
PS4,
like,
and
fuck
Yeah.
Soul Calibur 4 till
Yeah.
to this day.
4 was my entry to the series. That's
that's when I came in too.
All uphill.
I do not do fighting games.
I
and
mean, it
it's-
was still a good
that's
game.
the
I
one
still enjoyed Soul Calibur.
that I
4.
enjoyed.
I mean, it was a downward trend for the series.
Well, Soul Calibur has something that I like, which I prefer a block button
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of games as opposed to back to block, which is like a minor thing, but I really, really like it. And I've always preferred like the cool like weapon-based combat thing going on.
Yeah.
'Cause
How many characters do they have playable at PAX?
So at Sony, they had just 2.
Okay.
They had Mitsurugi's Sophidia, I think.
Okay.
And they had 6 at Bandai Namco.
Oh wow. Okay.
And 2
Yeah.
stages there. So like the Sony one was basically what you saw in like the proof of concept videos, but they had like way more, including like some I forget who the 6 were.
Wasn't one of them Zasalamel? 'Cause I saw a big ass fucking statue of his, and I just assumed that Zasalamel was a playable character in the demo, but I could be wrong.
I played as who did I play as? Because you play so many things as at PAX when you're media that you forget everything.
We did that last year. Absolutely.
I played as Groh, Groh, with a little line through it.
I've never. Is that a new character? I've never.
I think that is a new character for 6.
Yeah, I picked him because I didn't recognize him. Because I didn't play a lot of 5, so maybe he was in that. I don't think. I think he's a new character.
Yeah, that's got to be a new character. I've never. Heard
Ooh,
of
you know,
Groh.
I think Grog might have been in Soul Calibur 5 actually.
I know
Well,
nothing
he's
about
cool.
that.
He plays really cool, and they have like these cool charge up like finishers that are really neat.
Nice. I was just hoping to hear more. Like I was hoping Geralt would be on display. Like that's
I was-
the big.
I was really hoping for Geralt.
Yeah.
When Geralt wins, I want him to like. I want him to like just disrobe and like hop in a tub, and put his feet up.
If
That
only.
should be his. That should be Geralt's. I feel like that should be Geralt's victory animation.
Like
just
the hot
want
tub,
Geralt to be
like the hot tub comes out like out of his like pocket.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he just pulls
Grow-
it out and
I
or
just googled it. Grow is new to the game.
grow it. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
so he is new. Okay,
Okay.
and
He's got sort of like a Darth Maul thing going on where he has 2 swords that are together, but they do break apart.
oh, that's dope.
Cool.
I like that. I haven't played. I have not been interested in Soul Calibur in years. So I hope that this can like reinvigorate that. Like I hope the soul can burn again because I was such a huge fan of Soul Calibur 4. This is 6, right? Right, Tom? This
Yeah,
is
we're up to
Soul
6
Calibur
now.
6. Okay, yeah. When is the
I
game
just
actually?
want every time Geralt that wins, he looks directly at John through the camera and goes, "How do you like my combat
Yeah,
now?"
it's fucking Finn. Geralt's gonna bring the game down with his terrible combat.
What other games did you play there?
Yeah.
Let's see. I played Church in the Darkness.
Oh,
Okay.
that looked really cool, actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's kind of like it's kind of old school stealth. Like it's kind of a top down, like with vision cones, like VR missions.
Like Commandos.
Yeah, kind of. But it's like you're walking around, but you can you have an objective. At least in what I played, and it's like find this guy. But along the way, you can talk to like cult sympathizers who, well, not cult sympathizers, but like cult members who are like not super like against you. So they'll give you like side quests. Like I hear that the leaders are like doing this thing, but I don't have any proof. You find me proof, I'll help you out.
So like sympathy. So these guys are not totally sold into the cult. They're like, that might be kind of
they're, like,
shady.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I believe in like the word of like the good book, but like what these guys saying seems kind of like out there. And they would not say the word Jonestown.
But like that's the implication, right?
Well, when you boot it up, it gives you like the history of the cult. And it's like started as a whatever in San Francisco, and then this happened, and then it moved to South America. And I'm like, this like I just listened to like 10 hours of a podcast series on Jonestown. This is exactly Jonestown.
Yeah.
You were describing Jim Jones to a T.
I don't like the implications for the end of the game.
Well, also the thing they said though is like, okay, so every time you boot it, it's procedural.
Yeah.
Like, so like right now, I got a super hostile cult that was like tying people up to, like posts and like either beating them to death or like shooting them, and they'd like shoot on sight and all this. But he's like, that won't always be the case. You can get in, and it'll be like, oh, these dudes are just weird. Like, they might not be like a death cult every time.
I feel like this is logging onto Twitter every morning. Like this is what you get. Like it's a roll of the dice,
It's a flip of the coin. Yeah.
just like that. Is
It's
this
such an interesting pitch for a game too, and like obviously the subject matter is provocative, right? But like, and this is maybe just my taste, but when I hear about that, it's like that sounds good to me. Like the first like 10 times I boot it up, and then after that, it'll be interesting to see what they do for longevity's sake, right? That'll be interesting.
Thankfully for me, the first 10 times is all I need because with my job, I don't get to play
Yeah.
one game for too long.
Yeah.
So what I really love are playing a bunch of games to make a good first impression. And they can get really bad farther down the line, but I'll have a good time with them at least.
So
Right.
But that, go on.
no, I was just gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you, Tom. Is it like a top down, like visually? I saw all the ads for the game.
Isometric, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
I know it's isometric, but is it like a 16-bit pixelated game, or like what's the art style?
Oh, it's kind of like a. It's not super minimalistic, but it's not high detail. It's like a low poly kind of.
Yeah, it uses polygons, but it's
Yeah.
it's like it kind of reminded me of like Final Fantasy VII character models in a way.
Yeah, kind of like that. A little more detailed, I think, because like the resolution and textures are higher, but it's
Yeah.
very flat in that kind of early PS1, late PS1 type of way.
That's a 2018 game, right? It's coming out this
I
year
believe
sometime.
so. They said
Yeah.
soon, but they didn't say 2019. They made it like the way they were talking to me. They made it seem like it's closer rather than further away.
Awesome.
Hey, John, a quick thing. Chat has wanted to ask what you thought of the demo for Galgun 2.
I can tell you what. I'll tell you exactly what I
Game
thought
of
of
the
it.
generation. Game of the generation.
Finn tried to get me to play that.
Who cares about God of War?
Yeah,
I tried to-
Galgun 2 is where it's at.
no.
Twice
I
the
tried
amount
to-
of boobs, twice the amount of guns. Galgun 2.
So real quick, I'm going to ignore that question, and I want to
I tried to
acknowledge.
trick him so good into playing it.
I want to acknowledge our wonderful chat real quick. I see some regulars in there. Julian's here. Red Neptonic. Middy's here. I saw a few other people. Hash is in here. Wout is in here. And
Wout's in there.
Wout's in there. And my boy Anthony Agnello from Continue Podcast is in there too.
Oh, hey.
Yep.
What
The very virile Anthony Agnello. That's a real man right there. Not that Wout's not. We're all real men, but Anthony's. That's a real man right there. So I want to talk real quick about unless there was something else you wanted to talk about at PAX.
No, it's a lot of good stuff this year that I wasn't expecting, and I'm excited to see what you guys have to say.
So like,
I have one more question for you, Tom.
Yeah.
Were there any games that you had no idea what they were, and then you discovered them at PAX? Because I find that sometimes is my favorite part of PAX is that
Like
discovery
90% of them.
Yeah. So let me look at this list. I went into it not knowing what the messenger was.
Nice.
Yeah, so I made the appointment because I saw the name going around a lot, but I didn't know what it was, and I knew it was going to be like a hot thing that I should go take a look at. So I was like super surprised and really into that when I saw that, because like I didn't know it was like this like time and like style jumping thing that would change between 8 and 16 bits. I had no idea.
so
You're saying?
are you talking about the messenger?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna go something in chat. The messenger looks fucking dope.
it plays really well.
Oh my god, I am more excited about the messenger. Is probably, if you ask me what my top 5 most anticipated games for 2018 were, the messenger would be near the top.
Can you guys in like 30 seconds give a quick rundown for the chat for what that game is?
So it's kind of like I think he said Shinobi, like he was kind of way into like Shinobi and ninja games.
Okay.
And he wanted to make one of those, like an NES style
Yep.
ninja game. And as you're going through it, there'll be like time rips, like little lines that just go across it. And when you drop through them, your character jumps forward in time, so the levels change. But it also jumps to 16-bit.
So good.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
so
That's-
good.
Yeah, that's creative.
And then just all puzzles, like you're bouncing between using the different abilities and like using the different level geometry. It's super interesting.
Awesome.
I'll tell you right now. I mean, oh my god, it looks and plays like Ninja Gaiden, like NES Ninja Gaiden, and but you know that 16-bit jumping mechanic is, oh my god, I can't fucking wait for it. I can't wait for this fucking game, and I'm buying it on the Switch because that's the console that you should be playing a game like that on. In my
More like the Nintendo trash.
in my
am I
humble
right?
opinion,
I played it on
I'm-
Switch.
that
It
my,
played really well.
Jake, get out of here.
Tom's a man of taste. Real quick, regarding PAX, I just want to address something that happened, and I feel like I really need to. So one of our friends of the podcast, Amanda Farrow, played a game, and she's a good friend of ours, and I don't know if she's listening right now. I hope she is, but she, the devs of the game she played were they did like a team kill and teabagged her. Now I know that they thought she found out later they thought she was another member of their team, but that doesn't excuse it. It was unprofessional, and she said this much on Twitter, and she said that she was going to talk to the publisher about, like manners, not trying to get anybody fired, not naming any names, and Twitter fucking Gamergate came out of the fucking woodwork and just completely dogpiled her and attacked her to the point where she is now not on Twitter. She's taking a break from social media. I talked to Mike and Amanda briefly offline after it happened, and she's kind of in a bad place. So, Amanda, if you do hear this, if you are listening, we all support you here at SDGC. We all love you, and come back soon. But take all the time you need. You have friends out there, and we're gonna stick up for you no matter what.
Oh yeah, and what kills me is that they latched on and made up their own narratives that were never based on fact.
Well, it's what they always do, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Right, but it kills me the most because they were so professional about it. All they said was a dev did an unprofessional thing in a demo, be better.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it became Amanda's trying to get this developer fired and their game canceled. It was awful.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's like one of the things that I have a lot of respect for. I mean, Mike and Amanda are both great, but like things I really like about Mike is that he kind of marries the game dev and game journalist side of things, and like Mike's perspective like wasn't to shame anybody. It was like, look, this was a bad fucking look, and maybe in the future other devs that might be watching this like don't do that. That's a really bad look. Even if you think it's like a fun spirited competitive thing, like don't do it.
It is a bad look, right? Like it's professionalism, right? Like, and I mean, Tom deals with devs, like Tom deals with pubs, with publishers, and if you're showing your game off to a journalist at a trade show, right? Like when you're sitting around with your buddies, you want to teabag, whatever. I don't give a shit. I've done that, but I sure as shit wouldn't do it to somebody who was a journalist covering my game that has taken time out of their extremely busy schedule. Like that's just, So yeah, we'll leave it here. But I just wanted to let Amanda and Mike know that we support them, and to try to I don't know,
Agreed.
try to tune out the bullshit. That really upset me. As far as what I played, I actually did not have a chance to play much. My goal at PAX was to run around a network, and I feel like we did that. We got some
And network you did.
network. I did. Yes, I did. I got to meet Jake Baldino from Gameranx, who
He's okay.
he's all right. Yeah,
He's shorter in person, right?
He is shorter in person. I was not expecting that. And Wout is taller in person, and Jake is shorter in person. And I felt like I was like that happy medium.
Well, Wout's a giant.
Wout is a monster. Like Wout.
You know the best part about both Jake and Wout
What's that?
is that they are both now the proud owners of the Sons of Saki.
Okay, we're not. No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I heard about
Okay. At any rate,
Would you believe? Everyone always thinks that Jake is like significantly older than me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. I like that.
He's
That
actually younger.
No, he's actually younger than I thought. He's in his mid-20s. He's actually younger than I thought he was.
Yeah, he's like 27.
Yeah. But no, Jake was a cool guy. We talked a little bit. And he should be popping up on the podcast here soon. Which will be really cool. Yeah. And honestly, like aside from like I played Code Vein. I'll tell you right now, Code Vein is the only game I played. And it's dope.
You about those anime titties?
Here's the thing. I'm not even a fan of the anime boobies, but
With D's, by the way.
so I just want to point out I played Code Vein because I love Dark Souls. Everybody knows this. I was on a Dark Souls panel at PAX, for God's sakes. And first of all, that game is fucking.
Were you?
I was,
One?
and that game was fucking hard. Code Vein is a difficult fucking game. Yeah,
I really wanted to play it, but I didn't get the chance.
Code Vein is legitimately difficult. There's a boss in the demo. It's like the Queen's Knight or something like that. I couldn't beat it. It felt really good. It ran a little choppy, but I mean, it's not coming out right now, so they've got more time to iron that out. But I mean, beautiful. I mean, like visually, visually, it's a beautiful game. The art style is really cool. The enemies are really creative looking, and like I said, it's fucking difficult. It feels like playing an anime Souls game. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. So I'm really excited about that. Honestly, the craziest thing that happened to me at PAX, aside from all the cool people I met, and Code Vein was, if everybody knows Kyle Gatto on Twitter,
That guy.
Kyle came up to me and gave me a hug, and then immediately like felt up my chest and goes, "Wow." And I was like, well, what shit? And then he gets on Twitter when he gets home and he says, "I felt Mr. Megative's chest and stomach through his shirt, and damn that boy."
Can we just talk about this? Is the most SCG thing is quietly. Well, it's not even quietly. Overtly humble bragging.
I'm just saying. Hey, I'm just. I don't know if you guys were aware of that or not, but I mean, look at that
God,
shit. I mean, come on.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've already felt those, so like,
Right? Exactly.
Great.
Yeah, nothing new there.
But
Finn
anyway,
and
nothing new there.
I'm gonna-
Like, I'm yeah,
Okay,
whatever.
Finn and-
Bags of
Finn and
sand.
JT, quickly, is there anything that
yeah,
you guys
I was
really
gonna
like?
pass. Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Please,
So I want to pass the mic
please.
off to JT first.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So like most of my time I spent, just browsing around, kind of like you, John. I didn't play a whole lot of anything. Actually, I only played one game. But I found myself gravitating the most around the Annapurna booth.
I've heard that.
So like I watched a little bit of Donut County. I watched a
Okay,
little
so
What I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on with those. But they looked awesome in their own way.
You didn't play
But
Donut
the
County?
game that was like the most surprising for me, that I had no clue about before, it's a game called The Outer Wild.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
And so if you don't know about this game, what it reminded me of was like a folksy blend of like No Man's Sky and Firewatch in space with a twist. And the twist is that you are, you start on this like near this this campground or whatever, and then you get your spaceship and whatever, and you have these planets, these handcrafted planets. There are no like procedural generation going on to explore, but only for 20 minutes before the universe blows up. And so the only thing that you retain is
That
your
sounds
memories.
fucking wild.
So after the universe blows up, wherever you're at, you watch it, everything go, blow up in a fiery bliss. Things back up, and you start out right where you were, but you still have these memories stored like on your ship. And so you play through and you learn what you do based on your playthroughs. And the idea is that you'll eventually get efficient enough to be able to beat the game within those 20 minutes before everything explodes.
So it's
So I am very
it's-
intrigued by how that all plays out. I didn't get a chance to play it, but I was just enamored by it.
That sounds cool. What a cool concept.
That
So
does
it's like
sound cool.
learning by repetition, basically.
That kind of reminds me of that game that actually just came out called Minute. Obviously, 20 minutes. But like kind of similar, right? Where like so much of your progress is based on this incremental progress that you can make through your various runs. That sounds kind of fascinating. And like just the concept trailer that I saw for it is kind of incredible. It seems like something to watch. Do you know if that's this year?
I hope so. I don't.
Okay.
Does anybody else know?
I'm not sure.
I have no
Okay,
idea.
because I want to play that sooner than later, because that looks so much my jam. I don't think you could handcraft something more perfect for me. The art style, everything. It just looks so neat.
I wish I had more time to head over to the Annapurna booth. I kept hearing so many good things about what was over
There
there.
was I bought a Edith Finch shirt because it was brought up that they only had a little bit left. So
yeah, Susan told you that. Yeah.
Me and Maddie and then his girlfriend, we ran over there, and I bought one real quick. It may be a little too small, but it's super awesome. It's like this sparrow or I guess finch, with the mansion in the background. But
They had like the
Annapurna is one of my favorite groups of people right now. Just whatever they put out, I am totally into. So I can't wait to see more of what I saw there. There's a whole lot of other games, a whole lot of cool stuff. Finn may talk about it, but Swords of Ditto looks really cool. It's like a modern 2D Zelda.
Oh, I had
Co-op
that.
Zelda.
Yeah, co-op Zelda. It looked basically Zelda on crack. There's one called Outpost Zero, which is you're building up this planet. I didn't get to see a lot of that, but the aesthetic was cool. Phantom Doctrine, yeah. There's a whole lot of cool stuff there, and you really have to. This is my first PAX, but you really have to
Oh shit.
compartmentalize, write stuff down, remember what you want to talk about, because
Yeah.
it just all runs together at some point. And,
Yeah, your
just
first
becomes a big jumbled mess. That game was really cool, but wait, that was the name of that one, and then, like I remember one game was like Earthlock, but it was called like Earthfall, and so I'm like describing this, and people are like, wait, no, that's already out, and
Yeah, your first PAX is always just a really incredible experience. It was for me and Finn and
awesome.
Maddie last year. Yeah, and before we go on to Finn, before I forget, just to let everybody know, Chad. Speaking of conferences, this year, SDGC will be representing at E3 with media passes for
Oh
the first
hell
time.
yeah!
So yeah, we got our we're getting our media passes for E3. So we're
You're
We
in.
trying to hang
tricked
it in?
somebody.
Yeah.
You trying to hang at E3?
Yeah, no, we'll be there. I won't be there, but Zach and Finn and Jay will all be at
Oh
E3.
hell yeah!
Yeah, man.
It's gonna be the party crew.
Yep,
It's
gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Yep, as media, no less. So boom, we're in. We did it. Just
Yeah, we finally did something right.
So Finn, before we move on to another topic, Finn, run me through what you liked, buddy.
All right, so out of everyone at the show, I definitely played the most.
Good.
I was kind of I wanted to meet as many devs and just get that going, but also get my hands on the most stuff. So if we wanted to talk about it, someone did play it. And the reason I asked Tom if there was any games he had discovered there was because my two favorite games of the show were games that I had never really known about ahead of time, and were completely blindsided by at PAX and was just blown away. And the first one is a game called Disco Elysium.
I don't even know what that is.
Formerly, what is it? No Truce with the
Disco
Furies?
Elysium.
Yeah, so Disco Elysium. It used to be No Truce with the Furies. They changed the name, presumably because people kept calling it furries. I don't know. It's
I say that's a great choice.
It is a 70s like noir RPG done in the same like
Come
Done
on,
in the
man. This is a
same,
professional
like,
games
Your time's
podcast.
up, your finances up. Sorry,
it's done in the
you're
same
done.
vein as like the CRPGs like Pillars of Eternity or Divinity Original Sin, but in a 70s detective setting. And the writing, it was the writing that blew me away. This game, the voice acting was incredible. The writing was so very sharp and witty, and everything about like I played that demo for 45 minutes before they tapped and was like, hey, someone else wants to play, because they give you headphones and you're immersed, and just the time melted away. Blew me away. And then the second one was Phantom Doctrine, which
All right.
the easiest way to describe this is does anyone remember Alpha Protocol?
Yes,
That
absolutely.
Obsidian
The best RPG of last gen,
So
actually.
that's actually how this happened. I was talking to the Obsidian, and I was like, so Pillars is great. When's Alpha Protocol 2? And he goes, well, Sega owns the rights, so probably never. But we might want to make a spiritual sequel. But you know what game you should check out? He points far away. He's like, our friends over there are making Phantom Doctrine, and I think you'll like it. So I went over there. It's XCOM meets Alpha Protocol in a top-down isometric, like stealth-centric tactical game.
Okay, I'm digging that.
Holy shit. Like that feeling of discovering something brand new that seems tailor-made for your tastes is such a beautiful thing.
I'm digging
And
that.
outside of other games people have mentioned, like obviously The Messenger is good, and JT touched on Swords of Ditto.
Yeah, because you played that, right?
Devolver did have a new game that I had never heard of before called let me check.
I hate running backwards.
I hate running backwards. Yeah, it's they call it, instead of a shoot 'em up, they call it a shoot 'em down.
Such a good
Oh,
one.
Running backwards and shooting down at the screen as enemies come up, and it's all done in like a voxel graphical style.
Oh, I love that.
But
I
the
love it.
entire world is destructible.
Oh, that's-
Everything could blow up in a pile of voxels.
Oh, that sounds like
It was
Resogun
actually-
a little bit.
like Resogun, yeah.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun, but it was done in like a top-down, old school Ikaruga style way, but flipped on its side. So that game was a lot of fun. And then finally, the last one I'll touch on is Children of Morta. It's Hyper Light Drifter by way of Diablo 2.
Huh.
So if that's a combination that piques your interest, game's great. It's a co-op dungeon crawling RPG style, but with Hyper Light Drifter mechanics and graphical style. That was a lot. I really enjoyed my time with that demo. There was a whole slew of other games I played, but I don't want to take up the whole show. Those are my top ones.
So I just want to point out, real quick, oh, I can hear
You're
myself.
echoing pretty bad, bud.
Yeah, somebody's echoing because I can hear myself pretty bad. There we go. That's better. But anyway, Tom, I wanted to point out, Red Neptonic in chat earlier said, when do we dump on IMC?
Whenever you want, baby. I just got one question. Who was talking about Swords of Ditto before?
That was JT actually.
And Finn.
Oh, it was
right,
yeah,
so
JT and Finn.
I've had that installed on my laptop for like a week. Should I play that?
I hate you.
Which game?
Swords of Ditto.
Swords of Ditto.
Oh, you know what? Oh, I'm jealous of you.
Finn's
'cause I don't-
like, box your laptop up and send it to me.
I started to play it on
Take
the
really care
on the
of it.
train to PAX, and I decided to take a nap instead.
Well, see, it's a co-op game, so I feel like I would want to wait till there was someone I could play it with.
That's a fair point.
So that comes out pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I think it's
24th.
out-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Cool.
And yeah, so just for the record, The Outer Wilds is slated to be a 2018 game.
That sounds really interesting
Sick.
to me.
Sick.
I can't wait to check that out.
That sounds really good. I want to go ahead and move on to God of War reviews because this is it's been
Ooh,
trending.
baby.
Yeah. Let's talk
That
about
was
this
a thing to
old.
wake up to.
Woo! So yeah, right. Yeah. So
Did somebody say game of the generation?
So Tom hit the nail on the head right there, right? So I went to bed last night. I live on the East Coast, and I guess the reviews they were like, okay, well they're gonna go live at.
I forgot they were coming out last night.
Yeah,
I just
well-
looked at Twitter and suddenly everyone was freaking out. I
Well,
was
it's-
like, oh yeah.
Well, it's like 3 a.m. my time, right? So I go to bed. I'm like, okay, we'll see. I'm thinking like, yeah, it's gonna get great reviews. I go to bed and I wake up. Of course, me being me, the first thing I do is I check Metacritic, and I'm hit with an 94, and I was like, fuck! I was like, whoa! And then you see, so just to randomly pick some quotes from Push Square. God of War is a special game. This reimagining of the famous PlayStation franchise elevates the series in unexpected ways without forgetting the core tenets that made Kratos a fan favorite to begin with. There was one from IGN. I expected great action from God of War, and it delivers that handily, but I didn't expect it to be a thrilling journey in which every aspect of it complements the others to form what is nothing short of a masterpiece. It's a game in which Kratos, a previously one-note character, becomes a complex I can't believe I'm fucking reading this next sentence.
Yeah, same. dude.
Becomes a complex father, warrior, and monster, embattled both in the field and within his own heart about how to treat his son. I'm fucking talking about Kratos reading that.
Dude,
Like,
I mean, I know. Like, how many times in the 3 years we've been doing this podcast have we had conversations about how like sick of whiny bitch Kratos we were?
yes.
Are there any reviews by people who feel that they made Kratos soft and now he's a cuck? Did we get any of those?
No, unfortunately not yet. But maybe if we gave more time to each and conservative voicing.
No, I actually
Kratos
found a guy on
is
Twitter.
so
I found a,
Unfortunately, that
hot in the new
voice
one.
I
is
found
not well represented in the gaming media. We need
I-
more flat earthers.
I actually found no, Tom. You should check out my.
Oh,
my
can we get flat Earth reviewers, please?
Flat-
Yes.
I'm sorry, but that is a podcast name that is waiting to happen. Flat Earth Reviewers.
Flat
Go-
Earth Reviewers.
Somebody do it.
Okay.
I'm only going to trust reviews from people from like Soylent drinkers. From now on.
Yeah, I just feel like have we considered the
for lunch today.
Guys,
So
why are you ragging on me here?
so I just
Why
want
are
to
you
point out.
ragging on me.
Hold on, I want to point
It's
out. I want to
good.
point out. Tom mentioned the cuck reviews of God of War. I actually found a guy on Twitter a few hours ago, and I retweeted it. You guys can go look at my timeline. He's like, He's like, you can fucking keep God of War. It's full of SJW bullshit. We don't want SJW bullshit on Xbox. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? But
does that mean?
oh, dude, this was an interesting guy.
Having children
he also
is
blamed
now apparently.
he also connected God of War and the Deep State, which I thought was fucking masterful. Like you can't make this shit up, right? But so like I'm reading all these reviews of God of War, and one of them, Easy Allies, even said that you're talking like this is not just like Game of the Year talk. This is Game of the Generation talk. So I mean, honest to God, did anybody on this podcast see this coming?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Kratos is hot. in this
Okay.
one,
Yeah,
so-
I kind of did.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Kratos is daddy as fuck, man.
We
Yeah,
knew
dude, he is, but like, it's a God of War game. It's been heavily hyped.
Yeah.
I mean, people
Like
have been waiting for like,
every God of War game has always been like insanely
not
well
true at all.
reviewed.
But
Every main God of War, God of War 1,
But-
2, 3, and now this
Oh,
one.
sure. No,
Not
no,
counting
no.
Ascension.
I know.
And
know.
even the PSP games were well reviewed.
But yeah, I was gonna say, but not in Ghost of Sparta, which is the best God of War game.
So here's the thing,
I mean,
right? So
you're
they
not
were
wrong.
all God of War games have been well reviewed, but not for the reasons that this one is.
Right.
Which is what just kind of gets me. You know, they're talking about not just the combat, but Kratos is now a complex, multifaceted
Yeah,
character.
so like I didn't I expected the scores, but I did not expect the blurbs. I did not expect to be reading the things that people are saying about it.
Tom,
Yeah, like this is the Resident Evil 4.
Yes,
Yeah,
I saw that.
There are some some back of the box quotes out
comparison.
there that are pretty nuts that I did not ever see coming.
Tom,
Game Informer called this the Resident Evil 4 moment of this generation.
which is just fucking mind blowing.
Insane. Wait, real quick, John.
Yeah.
Saki wanted to say that it sounds like God of War has low key.
This is the worst night of my life. No. This is the worst night of my life.
That was
Can I
amazing.
play God of War on the Nintendo Switch?
So okay, yeah. But
John,
I think
that's
this would
a
fucking
question that
explode.
you should be asking because like
So-
anytime like a game gets brought up, you're like, I want it on the Switch.
Clearly, I don't want God of War on the Switch because it's
Okay,
impossible.
Dead
I want to.
Cells
Well,
is
hold
a
on.
game
Okay,
that fits
hold
well
on.
on
Okay,
Switch.
okay. I want to ask Tom real quick. Has anybody at Gameranx, like yourself, Tom, played God of War yet?
We have not. Sony doesn't send us stuff usually.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, they have us in this weird in-between place where we are kind of like traditional media, but also kind of like weird influencer stuff. So we're kind of like in limbo, and we don't get a lot of stuff.
That doesn't make any
So, like,
sense. You guys have fucking 4 million subscribers. I mean,
I know. I've been to every single Bethesda press conference. I've been to every Microsoft one since I've been in the industry. I've gotten into Sony once, and I had to like finagle my way in.
that's unbelievable. I would not have guessed that at all, man.
Yeah.
So I'm reading the reviews for all the reviews for God of War, and I'm seeing comparisons like Resident Evil, or Resident Evil 4, which is making the next week really excruciatingly long for me. But the other things I noticed from reading the reviews are, one, the game is apparently lengthy. Like, this is a meaty
30
fucking
hours.
game.
Like, it's long.
30 hours is what I was reading.
30 hours, and the side quests, I've heard a lot of people say, in fact, almost every review I've read have mentioned that the side quests are really good and really
30
worthwhile.
hours for a fucking action game, dude. That is insane.
And yeah, and like, the side quests are good. They say that there's really interesting story bits and lore just peppered throughout the world that you will not find unless you go off the
Yeah,
beaten
like
path.
it's not even fair to call it like an open world game. It's
Well,
not even.
I have seen, like, obviously the game world is not as big, but I have seen comparisons to Horizon Zero Dawn in terms
I think I've seen comparisons to Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I think that maybe
that's
is-
Yeah, that's
another.
probably
That's
right,
probably
yeah.
the most apt
'Cause,
comparison.
like
yeah.
I did see that like you have like a boat that you can travel. Like you have to ride a boat across a big lake, and that's usually how you get from place to place.
Yep.
And what's interesting is that last year we had Hellblade, which obviously has steeped in Norse mythology, and now we have God of War, which is also obviously set in Norse mythology. One thing that the reviews haven't mentioned, and I'm glad because there are no spoilers, but I wanted to see what you guys thought. God of War is all about god killing. Right, like that's the crux of the series, is you're waging this terrible battle against the gods. But in this one, Kratos' mission, there's no spoilers here because this is mentioned in all the reviews. The crux of the story is based upon Kratos' new wife, and she dies, and the whole point of the game is to carry her ashes to the top of the mountain that she wanted. Right, she's like, bring my ashes to the top of the mountain. That's it. That's what she wanted. I don't know anything about the story beyond that, but one thing we haven't seen in any of the promo materials, and one thing that really hasn't been brought up in the reviews, are the Norse pantheon of gods
Antagonists.
themselves.
Yeah.
Which makes me really curious. Like, do you guys think that this is going to be something like God of War, where you only fight one god, Ares, the whole time, or do you think that, because they've already come out and said that the next God of War game is going to also feature Norse mythology? Like, they're going to stay that he's not moving to Egypt or China or somewhere else. So do you guys think they will drip feed us Norse like gods in the Norse pantheon leading up to something like a Thor or an Odin? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, this is a 30-hour game, so I bet they cover a pretty wide swath of Norse mythology in this one.
In one of the reviews I read, they mentioned like figures from Norse mythology, like plural.
See, that
Like
could
when
be
they were
gods
showing
or
stuff.
like or like monsters though. Like
I forget the exact wording they use, but yeah, they made it seem like they're gonna be a couple.
that could be like I mean, you've got all sorts of characters to pick from, not just guys. I mean, you've got like the Midgarzormr. You've got Fenris. Characters like Beowulf. Like these heroes from heroes and creatures from Norse mythology. You got and then you got like Loki. Balder, Surtur. It's just such a. I'm really glad they went with Norse mythology. It's a really rich pantheon.
There's so much.
Yeah, I mean there's more than people think there is. Like people think Norse mythology and they think, oh, Loki and Thor and Odin, okay. But there's actually so much more to it. Their character, there are gods like Valravn and Surtur and just Magni and Modi. I know way too much about Norse mythology. But I had a theory about the game, and it was proven false. But right when the game was revealed, at 2016, I had this theory, and I was curious to see if I was right or not. But I had a theory that the kid was Thor, and Kratos would become Odin after he killed all the pantheon. Obviously, that didn't pan out, but I am really curious to see. And the kid is with you the whole game, right? Like he's there, he's a constant presence. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, he's there the whole time.
Okay. So
I assume there will be one like there's bound to be a part where you get separated and need to go
rescue him
because it's a video game.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
right.
for the most part, like from what I've been led to believe, he's with you all the time.
What I think is really cool is that he can't die. There's never a moment where you have to go over and save him, which I am really glad Sony Santa Monica didn't subject us to that. We haven't heard. I want to hear from Zach because we haven't heard a lot from Zach on God of War. I don't think you have a whole lot of experience with the series, right, Zach? Or am I mistaken about
So
that?
I played 1 and 3 and bounced off them pretty. I mean, so you don't know, pretty much the youngest, definitely the youngest one on the podcast, and so these games were either not allowed while I was very young, or just felt kind of passe by the time I got to God of War 3. Look, I think there's a lot of cool stuff about this.
And God of War 3 felt passe by the time I got to God of War 3.
Okay. Well, like,
that's why I was asking for this reboot that we're getting now.
Right. Well, and there's a lot of things I'm really excited about, right? All the reviews seem super promising. They talk about really good dialogue that kind of questions the asshole nature that I'm really put off by with Kratos. Like people mentioned, I'm not super certain about the woman in first start, but honestly, as long as I can get beyond that and kind of come up with a compelling reason out of the gate, that'll be good. I think it'll be good. I'm excited to see the combat. One of the things I was watching for in reviews was to see comparisons to Dark Souls, which we saw a little bit of, comparisons to Witcher and comparisons to Arkham, and I didn't really see as much of that as I was hoping for, or as I was expecting to see. Which is good, right? It means that we're not going to see the same, hit X and then hit Y to counter.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I saw one review that straight up called it the best third-person combat ever.
God damn.
That's a tall claim, but
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
excuse me, God Hand exists, so I don't know.
God Hand does exist.
I love God Hand.
Honest to God, the reviews for this, I have not seen glowing reviews like this for a game. I mean, what you've had Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild in terms of let's talk about game of the generation stuff. But I mean, those two games and God of War.
Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't even out yet.
Jesus,
the biggest game of the year isn't even out until October, and we have God of War coming out now.
Game of the generation already came out in 2015, and it was The Witcher 3. But we can keep pretending.
Shut the fuck up,
Tom. Hold on, I think I want to let Tom. What were you trying to say, man? Tom, can you hear me?
What was that?
No, you were trying to say something. I just wanted to give you a chance.
Oh, I forget what I was saying.
Okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it, man.
Everything's moving so fast.
Yeah, we go quick.
I love it.
Can I talk about God of War for a minute?
You can, Jay. Please, I want you to
Cool.
talk about God of War.
Okay, so Zach, I've never played God of War. Zach's actually played it. I have never played a God of War game before. I wasn't allowed to growing up, and by the time I was old enough to play them, they just looked really dumb. I guess that's the best way to put them.
They were dumb.
Probably a good word for it.
They were good, but they were dumb.
Yeah. I didn't really have a lot of interest in the new God of War just because I don't have experience with with the series overall. But looks fun. I'm glad that it's getting the reviews it's been getting. The director of the game, I know his first name is Corey. I don't remember what his last name is.
Barlog?
Barlow.
Yeah,
Corey Barlog.
it's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool to see him being like super positive and like excited about the reception this game's been the reception the game's been getting. Like, I don't know, it's a very cool feeling to be like, wow, like my product's like is out in the world and like all these people are really enjoying it. Like,
They seem
I
very
don't know.
proud. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems really proud and like I don't know, that seems really cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Yakuza 6 comes out really close to the new God of War.
It
So
does.
I will
gonna
not
get
be playing
buried.
God of War at launch,
Oh,
but
terrible
I'll probably
choice.
pick it up when it's like $20 or $30.
So I think
But-
so, Jay. I think what's interesting, like, so you mentioned Corey Barlog.
Yeah.
What's interesting about Corey Barlog is that he has hinted at this in interviews as well, and I get the sense that he approached God of War as he approached Kratos growing and developing as a father as he has done himself in his own personal life, as he has matured and raised his son. And I thought that was a really, really cool parallel, myself being the father of a almost 10-year-old, which is unbelievable.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, so that is something, that's another reason I'm really, really excited about God of War, right? Like, we can talk all day about the combat and, which looks great. We talk all day about the visuals. Apparently this game actually runs better in performance mode than it does like 4K mode, which is interesting to me. Or I'm sorry, not runs better, but it looks almost the same.
I should buy a Pro.
Is what you should, dude. Yeah, it's worth the money.
If there
I
were
have-
any game to do it, it would probably be this one.
I have the best TV, and I'm still running a Xbox One S and a PS4 Slim.
Gotta
Hey, I'm doing the exact same thing.
Gotta get out of that
actually.
Pro or that X, man. You
I-
gotta get on that action.
Instead, I decided to take that money and buy one of those hot LG OLED TVs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not
Ooh.
gonna do this
I
too
am-
hard then.
I am
'Cause,
jelly.
Yeah. But like,
Yeah.
I am so interested in Kratos' journey as a father. I think that is what, because I love doing shit with my kid, right? Like I love doing stuff with my son. We do a lot of stuff together whenever he's here. He lives with his mom, and whenever it's just like, it's just gonna be me and him this weekend, right? Like my wife is going out of town, and so he's like, Daddy, I'm gonna bring the Switch. We're gonna play some Splatoon. We're gonna do whatever. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, right? So like, and we'll play, we'll play online, and he'll be sitting on one side of the couch, and I'm sitting on the other. So I love spending time with him, and the thought of a father, just basically going on a journey with his son, for 30 hours is for me incredibly compelling. So that to me is probably the number one reason I am super excited about the direction that God of War has taken. I want to ask you guys about sales real quick, because the game is apparently fucking sold out on Amazon already. It's done. You can't buy it anymore on Amazon. And we had this discussion in our SDGC DMs earlier, and I just wanted to revisit it real quick. What do you guys think this thing is going to sell in the first month?
Oh, I think it's
A
gonna.
lot of copies.
I can see them
5?
packing. I can see retailers doing the thing where they're like, buy a PS4 Pro and we'll pack in
Yeah.
God of War.
Well, isn't there like a bundle coming out as well, like the limited
There's
edition?
a special edition bundle too.
Yeah. I've
Oh
actually
yeah, with the red Pro. Is that what it is?
I've actually got the
Yeah,
collector's
no, I thought there was
edition. Go ahead.
like a God of War limited edition console that was coming out along with the game.
I thought there was too, actually.
There is.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. It's like a
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a Pro. It's a silver one with like the axe design.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
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 I mean, God of War is like one of the most popular Sony franchises ever. Like, I think it's gonna do like 10 million the first month, which is really crazy. But like, God of War,
Cut in half. I think it'll be 5.
20 million by May.
I can see 10 by year's end.
I think 10 by year's end.
Maybe 5.
I think 10 million in a month is too enthusiastic, but I would agree that I think 5 to 6. I think I'm gonna go with 6 million in a month. I think is reasonable, and definitely this fall. Like I think they'll push it hard this winter on Black Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be bundled just like
Yep.
Uncharted 4 was. Like
And
that
there'll
came out
probably be
earlier in
like
the
what,
week,
like
and the-
there'll be like a DLC episode, sort of like they did with
Yeah.
Uncharted.
Absolutely, I
I
completely.
mean, it's
agree.
going to sell a lot of copies though, like a lot of copies.
Oh, it will. Oh, dude, no doubt. Like, I mean, 5-6 million copies in a month is.
and I think it helps too that it's not a new IP. People know the guy. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
know
God of
casual
War.
friends who are like,
Yeah.
you know, they know God of War. They know the God of
Also,
War name. So
anything that has the words "of war" in it will just automatically sell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
right.
opinions.
So I wonder if Matt is Matt Piscatella still in chat? I was
He
wondering
was
if-
here, and he was talking about this morning. I was going to touch on that. Was that he was talking about how this game especially will sell up front in the first week very, very well, and
It'll
probably in
be-
the first month really, really
it'll
well.
be front
But like,
loaded,
how will a game like this sell? In 6 months, and yeah, it'll be huge. Oh yeah, Matt is here,
Matt is here.
which is awesome.
So, if Matt, if you just want to throw in chat what you think, because Tom, if you haven't met Matt Piscatella, he's a NPD guy. He does an NPD rundown with us once a month. He's in chat. Matt, if you just want to throw in chat what you think,
Oh, okay.
what you think God of War will sell in the first month.
Yeah,
I know.
I believe we were talking about him in the office recently because that name feels familiar.
Yeah, Matt is a cool dude. He's a very familiar guy. That's probably why he sounds familiar. But why don't we go ahead and you know what, we got like another 20 minutes. He just dropped his tweet in chat today. He said now we will be able to see the high end of what a 30-hour story-driven single-player game that isn't service-based or an open-world RPG can sell in 2018. I'm reading this for anybody on iTunes. I expect very strong day one, month one, but am curious on sustainability. Time for gamers to put their money where their mouths are. Yeah, I
Well,
think
like that's
ahead.
like so much of everything, right? Is like we were talking about this with the DM. Is that I think it was like 2.6 million copies of Horizon Zero Dawn sold in the first 2 weeks, which is really impressive for. But this game has reviewed better. There are more PS4s on shelves that people own, and it's an established franchise.
Yep.
And it's like Horizon Zero Dawn for a new franchise had the worst name.
It was
Yep.
bad.
Looking
It was
at,
a
like,
bad
shelf.
name.
It's
Yeah.
pretty bad. Yeah.
Yep.
should have been Horizon of War.
Or should have just been Horizon, like the whole Zero,
Horizon of War.
Horizon of War.
I don't-
Oh, that's
I
actually a
don't-
dope. Yeah, but no, Zero Dawn is the most.
It
That's
probably
like-
shouldn't have been called Horizon, to be honest.
I know, I agree. That's like saying it's Horizon Origins, right? Like Origins is the most,
Horizon Origin.
that's the most
Or like the
generic
longest-
fucking yeah.
For like the longest time, I thought they were talking about Forza Horizon.
Yeah, that was confusing for a lot of people. I know. I want to go ahead and move on to what's it called, Radical Heights.
Hell yeah, man! Radical
This'll-
Heights.
this'll-
Okay, let's talk
Radical-
about
The
that.
hottest
This-
BMX game of 2018.
This
To the extreme.
Dave Mira's Radical Heights.
so just to talk, let everybody
Rest in
chat.
peace, Dave
So
Mirror.
my dog had to go to the emergency room because it was attacked by a wild animal, like right before we came on the podcast. So, if somebody does somebody want to lead this discussion real quick? My wife is calling me. I want to figure out what's going on with my
Yeah,
dog real quick.
I have-
Yeah, I think Zach should lead this. Actually.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
go ahead,
I have
Zach.
actually been playing this game. Really quick before we dive into it, has anybody else tried it out yet?
I have.
Okay, so let's go to you first. Let's talk about your impressions of it and kind of work through that a little bit.
It feels like if Fortnite was trying too hard.
Okay, okay, yeah, like that's
that's
a
good.
pretty fair take.
I kind of like there's something about Cliffy B's brand of ratitude that just like bothers, like rubs me the wrong way completely.
Okay,
Like
I
the
mean,
fact
sort
that,
of like David Jaffe's brand. With
Yeah,
Done to
like-
Death and all.
like the fact that like, oh, when you get a whatever their chicken dinner equivalent is, it plays "You're the Best Around,"
yeah,
and like, oh, that stuff starts me the wrong way. Also, like little design decisions I don't like. Like there's like when you're playing squads, there's no down but not out stage, which is kind of a pain in the ass when you could be killed with a single shotgun blast.
Interesting.
I've seen some duos gameplay where people get drowned and they're like crawling.
Really?
Yeah, the game is a mess. So like it, yeah.
Because I went down like immediately down, so maybe it was just like something weird on my side.
Who knows? I mean, like I said, it's in a rough state right now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
One thing that was interesting to me about Radical Heights that seemed to kind of separate it from the pack of the Battle Royale games was the in-game currency. Can you
Yeah.
speak to any, not like a free-to-play in-game currency where you like buy and then it like gets you, you know, ahead in the game by making purchases, but like actually within the game. So can you speak on that?
I can't. I've only played it for
Yeah.
about an hour.
Yeah, so I mean, like a lot of the way that in-game currency works is, and I actually think it's one of the more like. Listen, there's a lot to be said about Cliffy B, a lot, and a lot of it's fair. But I think there's actually a lot of interesting mechanics at play here, despite all the jank. So the way it works is, different things you find in the game world are worth money. So this could be like you can find like board games, cassette players, video game consoles, whatever, and those things can be put into money, and that money can carry over. So you'll acquire money throughout the gameplay, and there are in-game ATMs. If you go to those ATMs, you can deposit $100 at a time, and that will go to your basically your profile total. But you can also withdraw from your profile total in the beginning, and you can go and spend that money on weapons. So instead of looking for a shotgun, you can just go find a vending machine similar to Fortnite and just get a shotgun or a helmet or whatever. And like that is pretty much a lot of how it works. But I think the money aspect is probably one of my favorite things. But you can also, so instead of using that money to buy a gun in game, you can also save a ton of it and then just buy cosmetic items. So unlike something like PUBG where it's a crate, you could just be like, hey, I think this shirt's cool. I'm gonna spend money on that outright.
So it does reward a certain style of play to, you know, maybe save some in-game cash that you've earned. I don't know what it's called, what the currency is called, and then, you know, get an emote or, you know, the shirt that you want.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think that's what I like. Is that like, you know, if you have $2,000, you can go and buy a helmet, an armor set, and a gun. And you can, you know, basically bank on the fact that you think you're going to win, and if you win, you'll have a higher payout. Or you can say, look, I've got $2,000. I'm probably going to die here. I don't want to drop this money. I'm going to go find an ATM, bank as much of it as possible, and just see how far I can get with the shotgun.
That's really cool.
Yeah, like there are some really interesting mechanics at play here. One of the other things for those who haven't played is they're like these little pads that you can stand on, and if you stand on them long enough, they play a lot of loud game show music. And it's a way to attract other players. If you stay there long enough, it'll open up and offer you weapons. So it's like this risk reward type of thing.
Sorry to interrupt. I got to duck out. I just want to say bye to everybody and have a wonderful evening. Tom, stay awesome, and see you guys next week.
All right, buddy. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. I had to handle that. My dog's not doing so well, unfortunately. Yeah. So I'm
sorry to hear that.
No, it's fine, man. I'm kind of unfortunate. Got me down.
Do we need to wrap?
No, dude. Okay. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, I'm gonna have to go back to the animal hospital in 3 hours and take care of her. I mean, there's nothing I can do right now. So
okay.
I might as well keep the show going. I wanted to. Has anybody pointed out? So I missed a bunch of the conversation. Has anybody pointed out the fact that this was a really fortuitous time for Fortnite to go down? In regards to Radical Heights, because holy shit, that timing is incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And like, so for those who don't know, this is one of the things that I think is really interesting. I'll keep it brief. I know I go on a little too long. Is that Fortnite went down for like 24 hours, and is the only H1Z1, but I don't think that's got much of a player base anymore. So Fortnite is down, biggest game, and so a lot of people are just like, fuck it, I'll try this free game on Steam. That's got a lot of jank, and it took off. People like Dr. Disrespect were playing it with like over 100,000 viewers, bringing in a huge amount of traffic and eyes on the game, which has been huge. It has really lucked out in the past week.
Just by virtue of the genre that it's in.
I mean,
yeah. And the other thing that I think is worth talking about is that this game, I did a cover article on it. You can go read it if you feel like it. One of the things that's really interesting about this game is they started development of this game in November. For those who don't remember, Lawbreakers launched in August.
That's unbelievable.
So 8 months ago they launched Lawbreakers. 5 months ago they started Radical Heights.
So Zach, sorry to cut you off. I just want to make this point. Like you know, everybody jokes about Lawbreakers dying, you know, and it died. In fact, I don't know if you guys saw that tweet from CEO Kaz Hirai.
That was
did you guys
the best?
Did you guys see that tweet? Tom, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that one.
It was, oh my god, like wow, that was something else. And while it was funny, like, you know, like people have their issues with Cliffy B's. He's a divisive guy, but you know, he's got a team, and you know, I wasn't thrilled when Lawbreakers died, and I hope Radical Heights does well. You know, like I'm not convinced that there's going to be a market for this now that Fortnite is back up and PUBG is still going strong. Like PUBG is by no means performing badly. I don't. I have said this before. You guys have heard me say this before. I'm not sure the battle royale market, because that's really what it is right now. I'm not sure that market can sustain 3 different incredibly popular games.
Yeah. So not that this means anything,
go
but
ahead.
now that Fortnite is back up, currently as of 4/12/2018 at 7:20 p.m. Pacific time, there are 250,000 viewers of Fortnite on Twitch, the #1 spot, and Radical Heights has 8,380.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it.
That's
So-
not, that's not great. Yeah, I mean Destiny has more players.
Yeah, get this. Ninja has more viewers than the Overwatch League right now. So
Yeah, and like I think that's a big part of it, right? That and, like, I
Ninja
think
has
that-
120,000 viewers by himself, and Overwatch League has 100,000.
Right,
That's
and like
nuts.
that's the thing that makes that data kind of hard to rely on, right? Is like one heavy hitting streamer can skew that data. But again, that's what helped Radical Heights yesterday, right? But like just to summarize it, my thing with Radical Heights, I actually think, look, Cliffy B, I get it, but like one of the things that I appreciate about Boss Key is in their press release, they feature stuff from the creative director, not Cliffy B. He's not mentioned anywhere in the press notes. He's sharing some stuff on social media, but it's his team. I appreciate him taking the back seat. I think some of his attitude might have hurt Lawbreakers. I think there are bigger things at play than his
I
attitude.
mean, like the comments he had towards the Xbox crowd and stuff absolutely hurt the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
sure.
agree,
But like,
yeah.
I don't think. Let me put it this way. I don't think Cliff Blazinski is why Lawbreakers failed.
No,
There's
no,
rumors of it.
it's not.
No,
It's
no.
not. I mean, it's the
not at
fact that
all.
it's an arena shooter in 2018.
Overwatch
Yes.
was the reason that
2017.
Lawbreakers
Yes.
failed.
But I wouldn't count it out yet. I think that the game is janky as hell right now. But there are enough ideas at play right now. When Fortnite BR came out, it was a shameless copy, cut and paste. It's grown into its own thing, and I actually have a lot of respect for Fortnite. But when it came out, it was cut and paste of PUBG, and there is more unique ideas going on right now in Radical Heights, despite it being really janky. That I think don't count it out yet.
I might have missed this, but Tom, over at Gameranx, over at your offices there, is anybody playing Radical Heights?
I tried it. No one else is really interested.
I mean, it's only been available for like what, 2 or 3 days.
I guess
Oh,
so.
I
Yeah.
thought- It was like, because when I first saw them announce it, all I could think of was like, oh man, announcing a battle royale game in April of 2018 seems really desperate.
That's one strategy. That's a strategy.
Oh, we're not even done with the battle royale revolution.
Oh no, battle royales.
No.
We'll
that
be getting
shit-
battle royale clones for like another year straight.
You guys just wait until Battle Royale hits Red Dead Redemption 2 online, because you fucking know that shit is coming.
100 cowboys parachute into a open island.
just on a stagecoach attached to a hot air balloon. Like, oh, it's gonna be so good.
I'm not. Oh god, that's right. Red Dead comes out this year.
Cowboys are just gonna like whip up a building in
Dude,
front of them.
Yeah, Red Dead comes out this year. Like, what the? I mean, this year is
What-
on par to
what a
match.
year. Yeah,
So,
yeah. I
you're
was
actually-
just saying that before though. Like, people are talking about God of War being the game of the generation, and like Red Dead 2 comes out in what, 6 months?
I don't know. Like, Red Dead could totally drop the ball. I don't think it will,
It
but
Could.
It
They
could.
need the Benz, obviously.
they do need the motherfucking Benz. But like,
Oh, John, you asked earlier in the show about how I play games, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Red Dead is 99% chance of being one of those games that I will have to play for work for 2 weeks to make nonstop videos and then never touch again.
oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so it's games like that that get ruined for me.
How do you like? I know this isn't Radical Heights stuff, but like, I'm curious now. Like, how do you guys determine who plays what?
It depends on like who's doing it. So I'm really good at capture stuff. So I do a lot of capture
Okay, all right.
for everything outside of our like reviews.
You need to make Jake play Red Dead Redemption 2 for review, man.
Oh, he's doing the review, but for all the other stuff, like
Oh, it's gotta
Oh,
be
like-
you.
for like all the Easter eggs, all of like
Oh,
the
that's-
hot tips, all of
Mm.
like the guides, all of like everything else. That's all me for the most part.
I could not do a guide for a fucking game. I don't have that kind of patience.
Me
So, yeah, I
either.
could
Thankfully,
see where that would kind of ruin a game for you.
thankfully, Fallout 4, I was able to like open up a console and make it do whatever I wanted. Red Dead, not so much.
Oh my god, that sounds terrible, dude. Well, you know, I wanna mention real quick. about just real quick back to Radical Heights, and I hate
Absolutely.
I hate that fucking ngame, by the way. I just
It's a bad name.
It's a pretty bad name.
It's radical to
What
the
it doesn't
extreme.
like. What does that have to do with battle royale?
nothing. Like it's I don't know. You're reaching radical heights in the game. Like I mean, it's you know, every
Also, the word radical.
I have seen.
It's not 1980s Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles.
right. Like so, like
Or-
when here's the thing. I played me and Enrique on BRAP. We played we talked to David Jaffe and we played. He gave us a code for what was it
Drawn
called?
to Death?
Drawn to Death, which was awful. I hated Drawn to. If there's any Drawn to Death fans in the chat, I'm sorry, but I hated that game.
I mean, that game didn't even take off when it was.
No,
free
it
on
didn't.
PS Plus.
Part of the reason I hated it was because of the aesthetic of the game. And so, like, when I see, like, the zany, it's 80s and 90s, and we're so rad, this shit is extreme. Like, they actually use the word extreme with no E at the front on the Steam page. And I'm like, that to me, just, no. That kind of, I don't like that kind of buzzword, that kind of buzz talk. It just, that immediately turns me off. But more than that, I have seen 3 headlines on Google that refer to Radical Dreamers as a Fortnite or PUBG alternative.
Radical Heights, not
Radical Dreamers?
Radical Heights. I said
That's
Radical
a
Dreamers.
fucking name, John.
Actually, Radical
That's, a
Dreamers.
Chrono, that's actually a Chrono Trigger sequel.
Prequel. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Radical Dreamers is an actual game.
What I will say is that watching this battle to see who's going to be the third Battle Royale game has been fascinating.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I don't think it's going to be Radical Heights.
No.
No, it's
What
been-
happened to the what was it, High Res Studios, the people who made the Overwatch
Lynn's
clone?
Battlegrounds?
They just
Power
renamed it,
Battlegrounds.
right?
Yeah, it was like it's like Battle Kingdom
They just renamed it. Yeah, you're
or
right.
Kingdom
I don't
Royale.
know what they
Kingdom
changed it to.
Royale. Yeah, the first they were copying the PUBG name, but now that Fortnite's more popular, they've pivoted
Kingdom
to
Royale.
copy.
It's like
the
whatever
Fortnite
is
name.
like the flavor of the year, basically.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the Sesame Street Battle Royale game.
I'm really looking
Can't
to
wait for
Fort.
the hate.
I'm really looking to Fort Grounds is whenever that comes out. Fort
Fort
Grounds is
Grounds.
going to be.
You know what? I
Fort
think
Grounds.
it will be. I think it will be interesting when we get a legit, AAA entry into that to see
Yeah.
how that because
If
if Battlefield drops a battle royale mode, for example, like
if they don't
that could be
announce a Halo Battle Royale mode at E3, I'll buy everyone on this podcast who's at E3 a drink that night.
I will hold you to that, and I will appreciate the free drink. Look, I mean, like, here's the thing, right? Like, we just need competition in it. Like, Bluehole is, and we're still seeing it, right? Like, Bluehole kicked ass for all of 2017, and now they're struggling. And, like, Fortnite's a good game, but Fortnite's got problems. Fortnite doesn't feel good to shoot. You can't swap shoulders. It doesn't have logistics yet. Like, Fortnite needs competition. Like,
Fortnite's also free to play though.
and so is Radical Heights, and I don't think
Yeah.
Radical Heights will ever beat it. But I just mean that, like,
and Fortnite has the culture infiltration.
Yeah, it has the
Yes.
cult.
Yes.
Yeah, Fortnite has Drake and Kim.com. Like, what else do you need?
100%.
Oh my
I
God, I
haven't
forgot
heard the
about
name
that.
Kim.com in years.
Kim.com. Fucking
Kim.com.
shit, I forgot about that guy.
I did too.
But holy shit! Wow, that takes me back. Do you guys remember when? Off topic, but a few years ago when Lizard Squad brought down Xbox Live and
Yes.
and PSN and Kim.com was like, I'm gonna broker
Yeah.
a ceasefire, and then they took they took all the Bitcoin they gave him and then just immediately took the servers down again.
Yep.
Kim.com is such a fucking chud. I love it.
I'm an internet freedom fighter.
Kim.com is that kid in school who everyone would like beat up on, and they'd be like, "Hey, like if you do this for us, we won't beat up on you anymore." And then you do what you want and just smack him in the head anyway.
Oh my God, Kim.com. Isn't he like
Kim.com is basically Ralph from The Simpsons.
A very rich Ralph from the Simpsons.
I'm gonna broker a truce with Lizard Squad. And we never even actually Tom we Jesus Christ. That image of Kim.com with a card that says I choose you is never leaving my head ever. Oh, it's so good.
I'm about to fucking die.
We never even dumped on IMC, Tom. We never did it.
Oh, he does a good enough job himself for the most part.
I choose you.
I remember that episode.
Oh my God, so good. Yeah, like Ian Miles Chung.
You can see the exact moment that his heart breaks.
Oh my God. All right, it's time to
God damn it.
it's time to wrap this shit up. Well, what a way to end it. I want to apologize to to everybody in chat for our issues in the beginning, and also apologize to you, Tom. Sorry about that, man. That was dicey, man. I was so pissed off, dude. Oh my god. But,
I'm
yeah.
organizing right now. Like I'm doing a stuff for a multi-camera live show. Like things break. I know how it works.
Oh my god. Well, they break on this show.
Does it
more
work? You
often
just
than not.
like cut to the next one, like, oh, all right.
No, I have a really great what is it? Technical difficulties bumper with like a cool chimpanzee that I just go to.
Jesus. I forgot that.
Ooh.
Ooh,
That's what we
nice,
need.
dude.
we should get technical difficulties because that would definitely be put to use.
So I want to go ahead and just remind everybody in chat that hey, we will be at E3 this year as press, and that's Zach and Finn and Jay who will be going, and they'll be covering the show from the floor for us, and then we will be back here streaming it live for you, lovely ladies and gentlemen. And E3 is coming up quick too.
Oh, it's less than 2 months away.
Less than 2 months away. So
Don't remind us.
yeah. So
Yikes.
we just
There
recently,
better be some. There better be some motherfucking Final Fantasy VII remake. I'm gonna riot.
Brandon's gonna fucking flip his table.
When was the last time we saw something out of
2 years
FF7
ago?
remake? What was it,
PSX 2 years ago.
two and a
Yeah.
half years ago? was
Yeah,
that?
no,
I
yeah.
still haven't booked our Airbnb for E3.
We were
That's- yeah,
literally
we're doing
just
it
having
right
that
now.
conversation
Just
before we came on.
do
Tom.
it. We talked about this before the show.
Let's just do
Fine.
it.
I just wanted to win.
All right. We'll go ahead and we'll get that.
All right, can I have one announcement really quick?
Please.
We dropped the second episode of Appeals Court, like, was it a week ago? 2 weeks ago
About
now?
2 weeks ago now. Yeah.
Yeah, that is now available on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and so on.
Yep. And
So,
and you can
Go
also
listen to it.
you can catch this and Appeals Court and Pause for Popcorn on all the services on YouTube,
Yeah.
iTunes, and SoundCloud. So please do that if you guys have not liked and or subscribed to us on either Twitter or Twitch or YouTube. We would really appreciate that. Please.
Or the Facebook, which no one likes.
Well, I'm never on Facebook anyway, and Facebook kind of sucks
Yeah.
now because
Yeah, Facebook sucks, but
Mark
like go like our
Zuckerberg.
Facebook.
Oh my god, all the Mark Zuckerberg memes have been so good, by the way.
Yeah,
Those,
they
They're
have.
so good.
those have been really that's been good shit. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But Tom, dude, you're the man. It was awesome having you on, bro.
No problem. Anytime.
That was fucking
Yeah,
outstanding.
thanks for tolerating it. It was good having you on, man.
Yeah,
Anytime
this
you
will
want me
be
on, just ask.
this will be
Alright.
Tom's last appearance. He's not gonna put up with this shit anymore.
No, I don't get to talk about games on podcasts very often. So
You can
like,
come on.
Okay, see
Cool.
you next week.
Yeah, see you next week, Tom. Well, Tom will be here next week. But we've actually got some pretty big guests coming up. Just to let you guys know in chat. I'll go ahead and tell you one. In May, Brittany Brownbacher from What's Good Games is going to be on.
oh, nice.
Yeah, so please look forward to that. That's going to be good. We're going to be talking about some dates after the podcast here, but she'll be on in May. And if nobody has anything else, anybody want to make a
Oh,
point?
what about Mega Ren?
His schedule is so yeah. Mega Rand is
Okay.
going to come on, but his schedule has been so ridiculous. We're still trying to nail that down. Yeah. Oh, and I'll be on the Wout's podcast, the Hashcast, tomorrow night.
Cool.
Talking about PAX, because Wout is a good friend of ours. But anyway,
And maybe one day Wout will invite me on his podcast.
I'm
I'll
actually
have him
so
on
you know
mine.
what I'll send. So hey, that's you were at PAX. It's a PAX podcast. I'm gonna send him a DM. Be like, yo, get Tom on. Get Tom on. If
I
Wout's not in
wish,
chat
I wish I
anymore-
could be there.
I might
know.
be too mean for Wout.
What?
Wout's vibe.
No, no. Wout.
He's such a nice guy.
He's such a sweetheart. It's true.
If Wout has me on, I'm meaner than anybody in this podcast. If Wout has me on, I know he'll have you on. Anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. As always, guys, it's not always poetry. We don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next week, everybody take care of each other, be good to each other, and keep on playing those motherfucking video games. We'll see you later.
Sucky bless.
Bye.